recording is on.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga. Today we have a predominantly twist-oriented practice. We'll be working on rotation of the spine in many different positions. And what I'd like for you to think about today is how the spine moves through rotation. So it starts at the base of the spine. We have the lumbar region. There's very little range of motion turning in those bigger vertebrae at the bottom of the spine, because those are predominantly used for stabilization, those big vertebrae. Then as we move up into the mid-back to upper back, that thoracic spine, that's where we have a lot more range of motion to twist. And then of course, when we move up into the neck, we have the range of motion there that tends to lessen as we get a little bit older and we develop maybe some degenerative disc disease, some tightness in those muscles of the neck. Also, think about the fact that you can move your spine without moving your head, right? So we can have twisting without moving the cervical spine. You can also twist moving your head in the same direction. And you can also twist moving the head in the opposite direction. So we'll be doing some of that through several poses. I have my yoga block, my strap, a little cushion to sit on, and we'll start seated today in a comfortable, simple cross-leg pose. And just find a really long spine and press the sitting bones into the mat. Sometimes it's nice to remove the flesh away from your sitting bones a little bit so you can really feel that connection, nice and grounded. Brace through the lower belly, core is engaged. Lift the shoulder blades up for a moment, pull them back, and then place them down as far as you can, really lengthening through your neck. And just close your eyes for a few breaths. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose as we begin to ground today for our yoga practice. And just notice as we begin to warm up the spine today, how your body is feeling in this moment. And as you continue to breathe and focus on that belly breathing, we'll start to just turn the head slowly to the right and left. And just notice what is the range of motion that you have today in the neck. And maybe eyes are still closed. Sometimes when we close the eyes, it enhances our other senses. So we can really bring our awareness inward using our proprioception. Let's go one more time, each direction, turning the head to the right and to the left. Come back to center with the head and start to rotate the spine to the right and hold. And you can reach this left hand across the knee, the right hand behind you, and look over your right shoulder. And then again, turn your head from side to side without moving the rest of your spine. So looking to the left and to the right. One more time each direction, to the left and to the right. Then bring your head straight back forward. Come out of your twist and rotate the opposing direction. And this time looking over the left shoulder first, nice long spine. We'll look to the right slowly. And to the left. One more time each way, to the right. And left. Then right back to the midline and come back to center. Let's take a nice big inhale up. Exhale and side bend over to the right just to open up the ribs. And again, inhale up. Side bend to the left, keeping the sitting bones planted. One more each side. Nice full breath. And inhale up to hold. And exhale the arms down. We'll transition to our hands and knees. If you need to find a little bit of padding for your knees, take some time to feel comfortable as we'll be here for a little bit. So bringing the shoulders right over the wrists, I'd like for you to take your right hand and place it right next to the back of the right ear, and your elbow will be facing out. Brace the core, inhale, and try to reach your elbow up, 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 pointing it towards the ceiling. And then as you come back down, reach that right elbow towards the left wrist, but we're not bending the left arm. So we'll inhale, elbow goes up. Exhale to the left wrist. So this is a modification of our thread the needle. We'll do this twice more. Really using those muscles of the obliques and the core to initiate this twist. Inhale, bring it up. Exhale to the wrist. Now as we bring it up, let that arm unfold and reach way up towards the ceiling. And then we'll take our traditional thread the needle, reaching the arm under, bend your left elbow, and let your right shoulder and the side of your head find the mat. And then inhale, stretch up. Exhale. We're turning the head from side to side each time, looking as far as you can up to the right, and then over that left shoulder. And one more time, breathe it in. And this time we'll hold that thread the needle, relaxing the shoulder down. And we'll take this left arm and either place your hand on your hip or your sacrum, or you can wrap the arm behind your back and try to inch your fingertips into your right hip crease. And make sure your hips are nice and level so you can kind of move them side to side so you feel equal pressure into both knees. And we'll take one more breath here. Place that left palm back to the mat. Push yourself up. One more breath in. We reach. And then come back to hands and knees. Do one cow pose. Drop the belly, gaze forward. And one cat stretch. Round up. Tuck the tailbone. And then find right in the middle, neutral spine. We'll place the left hand, the fingertips right behind the left ear, elbow points out. Inhale, reach that elbow up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring the elbow towards your right wrist and your arm stays straight. Breathe in, stretch up. And you may notice right off the bat that one side is a lot tighter than the other, which is pretty common in our bodies. And one more, stretch it up. Elbow to the wrist. Now as you reach up with that elbow, let the arm unfold, big stretch, and thread the needle, allowing your right arm to bend as you bring that shoulder down towards the mat. And inhale, stretch up. And exhale, rotate. Bringing our awareness to our neck. Look as far as you can up and over that right shoulder. One more time. Breathe in, stretch. And then we'll hold our thread the needle. Right hand can go to the hip, to the sacrum, or reach behind your back, attempting to feed your fingertips into the hip crease. And then level off your hips. So I like to rock a little bit side to side and then feel a balanced position where I have the same amount of weight distributed into both of my knees. And one more breath. Then we'll place that right palm back into the floor, press into it with an inhale, stretch up. And exhale, both hands down. Do one cow pose, gazing forward. Drop the belly, pull your palms towards your kneecaps. And one cat stretch, rounding up, press your palms away from your kneecaps. Then come back to neutral spine. And we'll extend our right leg straight back behind us and level off your hips, flex your foot, and then bring that right leg out to the right side and look over your right shoulder to see the foot. Now this is going to shorten the right side of your waist here. Make sure that you don't turn your toes to face out. You want the toes straight down. And then sweep that leg across the opposite direction to your left and try to look over your left shoulder and see if you can see the foot. So you're shortening the left side of the waist. And we'll go each direction twice more to the right side. Turn your head, make sure your toes are down. And then pull across to the left side. One more each side. Your elbows have a slight bend to them. And the core is in neutral. And then bring that leg back straight behind you. Place the ball of the foot right down into the floor and push into your heel for a little stretch. Now, if you want to feel more stretch, push off of your hands and lift your hips and press the heel down. Now, if you're doing this position, you can also stretch your left foot on the top of the foot. So I have my right foot turned under, so the ball of the foot is on the ground. And then I have my left foot turned over so that the top, the arch of the foot is on the floor, and I'm stretching both feet opposing directions. We'll take one more breath here. And then exhale, lowering that left knee back to the mat, and then the right. Let's take a break for our wrists and stretch them in opposite directions. So I'm going to turn my hands the other way so my palms are up, my fingers are toward me, and take a little stretch here. Now, if that doesn't feel good, and that's too much weight, then just come off of your hands and maybe do some wrist circles just to give yourself a chance to be out of wrist flexion for a bit. And of course, you can also use fists for wrists when we're on our hands and knees if the wrists are really bothering you being in flexion. All right, coming back, hands and knees. We'll send the left leg straight back, flex your foot, reach out into your heel, so a nice straight leg, level hips. Look over your left shoulder and bring that left foot way out. Toes are down. Side waist is contracted. And then pull that leg across to the other side. Look for it. You might not be able to see it this direction. And we'll go twice more each way. Out to the left. Hip abduction. And bring it around to the right. Hip adduction, ADDuction. One more time to the outside, moving away from the midline. And then to the right side, moving across the midline. And then straight back out behind you, tuck those toes under, press into your heel for a stretch. Now you can either stay here or press into your hands, lift your hips, and we're pressing the top of the right foot down into the mat and pressing the left heel down. And really push away from your wrists, open up through your shoulders and your armpits. Brace your abs and breathe. Keep dropping that left heel. One more breath. And then bring the right knee down and the left knee. And then we'll stretch the wrists a different way one more time. So if the fingers turning away from you, turn the palms up and the palms up. Again, if that's too much stress on the wrists, you can sit up and just do some wrist circles. Just a couple more breaths here. And then turn those hands back over. We'll push up into a downward facing dog, lifting those hips. Now we'll lift the right leg, give it a nice big stretch up, and then step that foot forward into a low lunge. Now you can keep the back knee lifted off the mat, or you can let it set down. Those are two great choices, whatever feels best for you. And then if you need your yoga block here, you can also put it underneath your left hand as we open up into a twist to the right. And we'll hold this twist and look down towards the left hand. And then look up towards the right hand. So we're just moving the neck independently of the rest of the spine. Looking to the left hand and looking to the right hand. And look straight back down to the ground. Reach back down. And we'll start to straighten out this front leg any amount for a hamstring stretch. Again, your knee can be down. You can use your block for a little bit of support as we stretch the back of the leg. Now, if you are super tight in your hamstrings, you might be up here and feeling a stretch here, or down onto your block nice and high. So wherever this feels comfortable for you, great. If you need a little bit more, flex your foot, pull the toes up, and really lengthen behind the back of that leg through the calf muscle. And we'll take one more breath here in our hamstring stretch. And then to come out of this pose, I like to bring both hands to the inside of the right foot and just sweep it back around. So now I'm back on hands and knees. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up, downward dog. Lift the left leg, stretch up. Take a nice big step forward between the hands. You can help that foot along the way if it doesn't make it all the way up. Option to drop the back knee down. Keep the right hand either to the mat or block. Rotate open into a twist, reaching up through the fingertips. Now, if this bothers your arm, you can also put your hand on your hip, and then we'll look down towards the right hand and look up towards the left hand. Twice more. Keep the abdominals engaged and looking up. And then looking back down towards the floor, lower that left arm out of the twist. Straighten out that front leg any amount. Option to drop the back knee down, taking it back into your hamstring stretch. If you need a little more, we'll flex that foot, pull up the toes, and that really intensifies the stretch for me as it pulls it into the calf, into that posterior chain of muscles that tend to be very tight in our bodies. And let's hold here one more breath. And then as you come out of the pose, bring the left hand across, swing that left leg around to come back to hands and knees. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. And then either walk your hands to your feet or feet to your hands or meet them somewhere in the middle and come into forward bend. We can also clasp our hands across our opposite elbows and interlace them there, hanging in ragdoll pose. And let's spend some time here, really elongating the backs of the legs, releasing the lower back, releasing any tension in the neck. You can turn your head from side to side, lift up and down. If your hamstrings are really tight, you might be up here in half lift, or even have your hands on a chair or your block for support. Let's hold 3 more breaths. Maybe releasing down a little deeper with each exhalation. And once you finish that third and final breath, release the hands, bend the knees quite deeply, sitting the hips back towards the heels. Reverse swan dive, stretch all the way up. Reach up towards the fingertips. Upward salute, Urdhva Hastasana. And then press the palms at the heart. All right, we'll be practicing a chair pose. If you have a cushion for your knees, you can slide that out of the way. And today, I'd like you to take chair pose with your legs tight together. If that feels okay for you, it's going to be a little bit more for balance, but you'll be able to feel if your knees are connected. And when we do a twisting chair pose and we rotate, sometimes one knee will go forward of the other because we're turning in our pelvis. So if we have our knees touching, we'll be able to notice if that is happening. So let's take a breath in and sit into a regular chair. Press the palms at your heart and feel this connection between the knees, sitting the weight back into the heels. Now keep the palms pressed together as you rise back up. And this time as you sit into chair, bring your left elbow across towards your right knee. And again, pause there for a minute or a second. That term for a minute's being used a lot lately. I think it's just whatever your minute is. And make sure your knees are together. And we are going to hold this chair pose a little bit longer. Look down towards the floor. And then look up towards the right shoulder, towards the ceiling. One more time, look down. And look up. And looking back down. Unrotate your spine. Derotate, unrotate, disrotate, and reach up. And then come back into your chair, rotating the right elbow across. Make sure your knees stay together. Now you don't have to actually touch this elbow to your knee. If you're way down there, that's okay. It's more about how much can you rotate the spine, hold with your core, look down towards the floor, and look up over that left shoulder. And that's a little balance challenge. Looking down and looking up. And look down. Bring your spine back to the midline. And press up, stretch. And release your arms next to your sides. Step or jump out. Feet nice and wide. 5-pointed star. Nice stretch here. Now we will bend the right knee. We're coming into a little side lunge. And then reach across, tapping the knee. The right hand goes behind your back. You can kind of see my fingers back here. And then open back out. Bend the left knee, reach across, and the other arm circles behind. And I'm keeping this pretty upright right now as I'm rotating. And one more time. Now this time I want you to look the opposite direction that you're turning. So you're turning to the right, but look over your left shoulder. Inhale back up. Turn left, look over your right shoulder. One more each side. Breathe. Rotate the head left. And breathe. Rotate the head right. Come back up. Inhale. Swan dive into wide forward bend. And hold. Now your toes can be slightly turned out, or you can kick your heels out a little bit and bring your feet more parallel. And we'll take the left hand right to the middle of the mat, and you can use your block here. It's kind of a nice tool just to set your left hand on. And we'll rotate open into a twist. And again, if holding this arm up is uncomfortable for your shoulder, put your hand right on your hip, and we are going to look down towards the floor and up towards the right hand. hand down and up. Bring that head back down, lower the hand down, and we'll switch. So the right hand is in the center. Rotate open, hold. Now check and make sure that you didn't shift your hips over to the left. So you want to have them nice and squared. Look down to the right hand. Look up to the left. One more down to the right. And up to the left. Down and hold. And then lower that left arm out of your twist. We are going to hold this wide leg stretch for 60 seconds. Your hands can be on a block. You can reach your fingertips way out like you're doing a down dog. You can reach your fingertips through your legs and give yourself a pull down. If you're pretty flexible here, you can hold onto your ankles. You can place your hands up on a chair. So wherever you like to be here as we hold this nice hamstring stretch, relaxing the head. And notice where you feel the majority of the stretch. I definitely feel my hamstrings, but today I'm feeling my lower back a fair amount. So I'm going to try to soften through that area and breathe into the back side of my body, the back side of the ribs. And maybe coming a little deeper if you can for our final few breaths. And then we'll walk our hands to one side of the mat, whichever one you want to consider as the top of your mat. Turn your feet and step the back foot forward into forward bend at the top of the mat. Soften your knees, reverse swan dive, coming all the way up. Press the palms and draw the thumbs into the heart. So we are going to follow Sun Salutation B, a variation using our twists today. So we'll inhale to sweep the arms out and up. Exhale in a twisted chair to the right side. So bring your left elbow across the right thigh. Inhale back up. Exhale, swan dive into forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and step your right foot back to a lunge. Open out into a twist to your left. Set that hand back down. Push back to downward facing dog. Hold just a couple of breaths here as you find that nice alignment of your spine and equal pressure into both feet and both hands. As we inhale, we'll glide forward into plank pose. Option to lower our knees down as we move through Chaturanga Dandasana, lowering the belly all the way down to the mat. Now as we lift up into Baby Cobra, take your arms out away from the mat and twist to the right. So I'm lifting my right arm up a little bit higher than my left. And then lower back down. Bring the palms of your hands back underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up from the knees or the toes, coming into downward facing dog. And we'll lift the right leg up nice and high. Take a step forward into lunge. Help that foot along the way if you need. And then we'll twist open, stretching up to the right side. Place that hand back down. Push back again to your downward facing dog. Hold here, breathe. Inhale. Inhale, glide forward into plank or kneeling plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Inhale up, baby cobra. Reach the arms out and rotate left. Hold that twist, nice active legs. Come back to center. Place the hands underneath the shoulders. Push back up. If you need a break, come to child's pose or back up into your down dog. Now as we gaze up towards the top of the mat, we can either step or jump the feet towards the hands, coming back into forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Press the palms. Exhale, finish with the twisting chair to the left this time. And then inhale, back up. Let your arms open into mountain pose. Pull your shoulder blades back. Nice long spine. We'll repeat that sequence one more time, starting the opposite direction. So inhale, sweep up. Twisting chair to the left, rotate. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, swan dive, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Your left foot steps way back into your low lunge. Twist open to the right. And place that hand back down to the floor. Press back to downward facing dog. Remember to take any modifications you need for some of these poses, taking breaks when you need to. Inhale forward to plank or kneeling plank. Lower down, chaturanga. Let your belly come all the way down to the mat. Baby cobra, lifting the back up, open the arms out, airplane, and twist to the left. Breathe. And come back to center. Bring the palms of the hands underneath the shoulders. Press back up from the knees or toes. Downward facing dog. Really press off the wrists there, stretch. And we'll lift that left foot up nice and high. Take a big step forward towards the top of your mat. Keep your right hand down. Using a block if you need, twist open to the left. Lower that hand back down. We move back into down dog, pressing away from the hands. And one more half series vinyasa. Come forward through to plank. Knees or toes, lowering down through our chaturanga. Place the belly all the way to the mat. Lift up into baby cobra. Lengthen the arms out. Turn to the right. Look that direction. Come back to center. Press the palms from underneath the shoulders. Push up. If you need a child's pose, this is a nice place to take it right here. Or lift those hips. One more down dog. A couple of breaths. And then make your way back to the top of your mat, walking or take a little jump. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, sweep up. Nice big stretch. Press the palms and we'll finish with a twisting chair to the right side to complete our sequence. Inhale, rise back up and find a mountain pose. Let's bring the hands behind the back. Take a chest expansion. Interlace the fingers, roll those shoulders together. Lift the arms any amount from your back body. You can also use your yoga strap for this or just reach your hands behind without interlacing. Tuck the abs in, a nice connection in the abdominals and in your bandhas. Let's take one more breath. And then we'll inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, swan dive back into one more forward bend. Step back to the hands and knees. And take a break in child's pose. So we're going to transition to laying down on our back for some reclining twists. Some options for that. You might need a block or a blanket to set your knees on to relax. And I'm going to bring those props over to the right side of my mat so that I've got them there, and also have your yoga strap available within reach. So coming down onto your back, extend your legs out nice and straight. Take a nice big stretch with the fingertips up. And pull your left knee right up in towards your chest. Pull it in. A nice little release for your lower back. And then we are going to move this left knee across the body with the right hand. And if you need your props, that's where they're going to land. Your knee will land on your block or a cushion so you have that connection. And then open that left shoulder blade back into the mat. Now with the head position, you can keep it neutral, looking straight up to the ceiling. You can turn your head the opposite direction from the knee, or you can turn your head the same direction. All of those are correct. So maybe play with that a little bit and see which one works best for you. And we'll hold here another 20 seconds. And take some nice deep breaths into your rib cage. Notice where you're feeling that breath moving. One more breath. Bring your head back to the midline and bring that knee back to the midline. And we are going to stretch this left leg up for a nice deep hamstring stretch. Here's where your yoga strap can be a nice tool to use. We can loop that under the bottom of the foot, on the ball of the foot, and take your leg up. So we can let that strap elongate long enough so that you can get your leg to straighten as much as possible. It might be down here, which is okay. Let's just try to get it straight. If you don't need your strap, if you have that flexibility, it's kind of nice to do the yogi toe lock. So you would take the peace fingers of your left hand, slide it between the big toe and the second toe, wrap the fingertips around and place your thumb over the top. If you have arthritis in your big toe, this one might not feel the greatest one for you. But if you do have it, I want you to push your toe away from your fingers so that you're not actually pulling your toe down. You still feel like your toe is in good alignment. Let's take one more breath here. And then we'll release that yogi toe lock or the strap and lower the left leg all the way down to the mat. Take a nice breath in, stretch. As you exhale, hug the right knee up into the chest. A wind relieving pose. Try to press your lower back down into the floor. And then we'll pull that leg across. Oh, I forgot to move my props to the other side. And I'm going to do that because I like to feel that connection of my knee into the mat. Pulling that leg across. And it's okay if you don't. It can be hanging there in space. But I just like that feeling of supported. Opening the right shoulder blade back into the floor, and the head can either turn to the opposite direction of the knee, to the same direction, or straight forward. You choose. And then we're going to take some nice big breaths into the rib cage, and specifically into the right side ribs, because those are the ones lifted away from the mat, and we have the room to expand through the ribs here as we breathe in and out. You can also make these cleansing breaths where you breathe in deeply through the nose and exhale forcefully through the mouth. Just about another 15 seconds or so in this twist. And be real careful with this one if you're feeling any SI joint pain that you don't overextend this twist, because we can actually overly stretch those ligaments in the SI joint. One more breath. Bring your head back to neutral, and then the knee comes back up, the spine back to neutral. And then we'll take our stretch here for the hamstring. So maybe using your yoga strap, a nice flexion in the ankle. Get that leg completely straight. Or if you like the yogi toe lock, peace fingers, fingers 1 and 2, go between the big toe and the second toe. They wrap around and your thumb closes right over the top like a little lid. And then push away with your big toe so that you're not flexing and putting stress on that joint. Now, if you like the yogi toe lock, but you can't get your legs straight and you're in here like this, then you're not really getting that good hamstring stretch. So if that's the case, use your yoga strap or just hold here behind your thigh so you're able to straighten the leg. And just a couple more breaths. And then we'll release the strap or the yogi toe lock, and we'll be working the obliques today with a dynamic twist. So bring both knees to table, squeeze your knees tight together, and if you'd like a little bit more work for your inner thighs, you can take your block and place it right between the knees, and you have to hold it there. So you're going to squeeze it nice and tight. Elbows go out to the side to gently brace your body so you don't rock over side to side. And then we'll drop our knees to the right side as far as you can go without lifting your left shoulder off the mat. And we'll hold here 3 breaths. Squeeze the block or squeeze the knees. On that third exhalation, pull those knees back up to the midline. Drop them over to the left. Now your hip can lift up off the mat, so you see this right hip is going up, but try not to let this right shoulder lift up. And you're holding that twist 3 breaths. Squeeze the block 2 more breaths. And then bring it back up. Now going at your own pace without holding, move from side to side. So drop the knees to the right, bring it back up, dropping to the left, bring it back up. Shoulders stay planted. Feel your core really working. One more time each direction. And hold those knees right in the center. So we're going to add a little bit of a circle with this. So drop your knees to the right, circle your legs down and come right through the middle. Drop your knees to the left, circle down and come up the middle. Now if this bothers your lower back, just stay with the twisting. Drop the knees right, circle down and up the middle. Left, circle down and up. One more each side. Right, circle down, up and left. Circle down and up, and slide the block out from between the knees and rest your feet down to the mat. Now let's separate the knees hips distance apart. Push into the feet for a hip bridge. Roll up one vertebra at a time, coming up as high as you feel comfortable. Squeeze through your glutes and the backs of the legs, and then tuck and roll back down one vertebrae at a time until you come back to a neutral spine. We'll do that twice more. Tuck tailbone under, peel up, lift, 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 using the strength of the lower body, the glutes, hamstrings, and roll back down, back to neutral, and one more tuck under, lift up. We'll hold this one at the top. Your option is to interlace your hands behind your back. Rock a little bit from side to side to bring your triceps underneath your body. Walk your feet toward you a little bit more and push into all four corners of the feet and lift up into a nice bridge. Now make sure that your chin isn't pressed into your sternum. So keep the front of the neck long. No rotation from side to side with the neck in a bridge. We want to keep the head straight forward. And hold here 2 more breaths. Maybe lift those hips a little higher, opening up through your hip flexors. 1 more breath. Then if your hands are clasped behind your back, separate them. Separate your shoulder blades. Roll down slowly, 1 vertebra at a time. Hug your knees into your chest and release your lower back. You can also take a happy baby, bending those knees, separate them slightly, reach to the outside of the feet and pull those kneecaps down into your armpits. Maybe you're rocking a little bit from side to side to release the lower back a little bit more with a gentle twist. And then we'll take a hip opener for a reclining pigeon, or you can roll over. If you prefer pigeon pose, you can come into pigeon. We'll work that right side first, so either crossing the right ankle over the left thigh, or if you're coming into pigeon, you'll bring that right knee forward and settle yourself down into the mat. And just pull those knees in gently, or use the strength of the bottom leg to push to stretch this right hip. Now, if you're watching this class later on YouTube and you want to hold this longer, now's the time to hit the pause button, and you can stay here as long as you like and really make this a yin pose, holding this nice deep stretch. You would want to do that maybe a minimum of 2.5, 3 minutes. Even longer is fantastic. But for today, we'll go ahead and prepare to switch. So lowering those legs down, switch to the other side. If you're in pigeon, you can go through a down dog maybe to switch sides. And Get yourself nice and deep into that second side. And figure 4, I have my feet flexed here. You can do the same thing in pigeon to activate those muscles around the knees. We can also use this lower leg to push forward to give us that stretch by activating the right hip flexor and activating your abdominals. And again, if you're watching this class later, pause the video and hold as long as you'd like. For today, we'll hold another 10 seconds in this stretch, maybe 2 more breaths. And then transitioning back to seated, you can either roll over to your side and press up or hold behind your legs and rock yourself up to a seated position. We'll finish with one more twist today. So this one is both legs will extend out, and we have the right knee bends in. We'll reach the left hand up and try to either bring your elbow across the knee or you can hug it in toward you. And then the right hand reaches behind the body to create a second spine. Elongate and lift, and we'll look over the right shoulder and then look over the left shoulder. One more time, looking to the right and the left. Then looking back to center, release the arm across and extend that right leg straight out. One more twist to the left, bend that knee. We'll bring the right hand either across or hug that knee in. Left hand reaches behind you. Really elongate your spine. Rotate the head to look over the left and then look over the right. And looking left and right. Bringing that head back to neutral, release the twist. Bring the soles of both feet together, opening the knees out, Baddha Konasana. And we'll do this 2 different ways today. I want you to pull your heels as close into your groin as you can. And if you hold on here, try not to pull on your toes or your feet to pull yourself down. You can actually hold on these strong bones of the ankles and press down with your elbows to open the knees out, and then slightly fold forward until you feel that stretch. Lower back, inner thighs. And one more breath in this position. And coming up. Now moving the feet away from you any amount. So maybe it's just a couple of inches, maybe it's more like 6, 8 inches. They'll make more of a diamond shape and really sit up. You can slightly tip your pelvis forward now into a little bit of an anterior tilt. Take a breath in. And then exhale, fold forward through that space, any amount. This should feel like a different stretch. Notice where you're feeling it. I'm feeling it a little bit more in the outside of my hips, less inner thighs, more lower back. And 2 more breaths here. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, arms down. Close the knees together. And either just lean back, bracing your abs, or you can pick your feet up off the floor And we'll hold Navasana, boat pose. Twist to the right, looking over the right shoulder. And come center. Twist to the left. Come center. Now as you twist to the right, look left. And center. Twist left, look right. And center. Hold. One more breath. Set those feet back down. Fold the knees open one more time and stretch through the middle. Our last Baddha Konasana. Bound angle pose. Inhale back up. Lengthen both legs straight forward. A final forward bend. Flex your feet. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale and fold forward. So depending on your flexibility, you might be able to get your hands to come all the way out to the feet. You might just set your hands next to the side of your body and lean forward, or even reach them back behind you and give yourself a push forward with a nice neutral spine. And we'll hold here 2 more breaths. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring them right by your side. This is staff pose, Dandasana. Pull your shoulder blades back, lift your heart forward. Tighten up the muscles of your legs. Pull your toes back toward you. Nice long spine. And from here, we'll close our practice. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Pull the thumbs into the heart as we express our honor and gratitude for this opportunity to practice. And the joy that resides within me honors the joy in all of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. I think our weather looks better tomorrow for backyard boot camp. So if anybody wants to try to come to the backyard and then a little dip in the pool after, send me a quick email and I'll put you on the list at 10:30 tomorrow. All right, if anybody can stay on board and chat for a minute or two, I'd love to see how everything felt for you today. Otherwise, thank you so much for supporting LisaBug classes. I'll see